Hi, Janelle Ferrer with Waypointe Realty here, and I have a very special invited guest. I have Diana with Universal Insurance Agency. And today we wanted to talk about how to avoid scams when you're getting homeowners insurance or when you already have homeowners insurance. Now, there's a lot that's been going on even lately with a lot of policies being dropped, a lot of fraudulent activity. So we want to make sure that you know exactly what to do to avoid this so that when you do go to sell your home, you don't have any hiccups or anything that comes up because of something that happened with insurance. So Diana, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Janelle. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to ask is, what are the kind of scams that you're seeing right now, and what are some of the reasons that you see issues coming up with homeowners insurance?
Well, I've been in the insurance industry for a long time. And in Florida, it's forever changing, especially in the homeowner arena, as we know, because it's really not profitable for the insurance companies to be here. There's been so much fraudulent activity that in Central Florida, now they're called the Soap County, Seminole, Orange, Lake, and Osceola County. They're considering us the next Dade and Broward, which means the prices are going to go up. So you're going to expect that, and we're already seeing it. Like you said it earlier,
right.
There have been so many cancellations. In my office alone, we're rewriting over 2,100 policies with a company, that carrier that's leaving. The other company they're sharing it with, that they want to send it to, they'll either accept it or not, but they had a 41% rate increase approved in January.
41%?
So the price, yes, so they're astronomical. And unfortunately, that's because of so much fraudulent activity. And it's sad to say that, but it starts with, and I love my attorneys, but it starts with attorneys and people that go to attorneys and they want to maximize their claim. Or the roofers and
or go ahead.
Or the roofers and contractors that knock on your door and say, hey, do you see those cracks? Well, you remember when it was sinkholes. We used to have full sinkhole coverage, but every time one of those contractors, where it started in Marion County, went Hillsborough Lake and all of that, every time that the insured called the insurance company when we had full sinkhole, by law, the insurance company had to open the claim and order a geo study and send an engineering firm there. And it cost 12 to 20 grand just from that one phone call. And 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, let's stop, because I want to take the time and back up a little bit with the attorneys. I think that's really important. So when people are filing claims, it's because of something that they feel their insurance agency isn't covering, right?
Insurance company.
Insurance company, yeah. Right? So we would
like to think that it's that way, but a lot of times people just pick up the phone and call and bypass, because they called us, for example, as insurance agency. Before we would recommend even to file a claim. Let's talk about it. What kind of a claim is this? Let's talk about the deductible.
Right.
Let's maybe send somebody out there, get an estimate to see what it's really going to cost you. Because if you have $1,000 deductible and your claim is going to be $2,500, you may want to rethink filing that claim, because it's better to have a $10,000 claim or a $20,000 claim as a small claim, because that creates dictates that there may be a frequency for that propensity for that person to file claims.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, and in professional opinion in the industry, has always been, let's talk about this claim. Just like with auto insurance, a lot of us may have a $500.
It's the same with auto insurance. You get in a car accident, if it's a minor fender bender, suck it up. Don't give it to the insurance, because you don't want your rates to go up. So the same applies in homeowners insurance, just with kind of a bigger price tag, so to speak. Like, don't file for a few thousand, because you're going to want it when it's tens of thousands of dollars in a claim, right?
That's what it's for. If you have a kitchen fire, something that is really a larger claim, that's what you do. A lot of times it's a maintenance issue. Yeah. For example, I myself in my home have a house that's 13 years old. In the shower, on the sides, after time, I never regrouted it every year and did a maintenance on it, but I noticed there was water. So when we took the bottom out, there was a little bit of mold. It was, that. And so to me, that was a maintenance issue as an insured, my responsibility.
Sure.
And I took care of that and redid the floor and some of the sides of the tile on my own because of that. But I've also been struck by lightning, and I had my AC, my refrigerator, and my TV go out. And guess what? I filed a claim. So you've got to choose your battles with this.
Choose your battles. So something.
And always call your insurance agent to discuss it before you file a claim.
And we're absolutely going to hound on that several times, because that just so everybody who's going to be watching or is watching, that you guys know, at the end of the day, the most important thing is contact your insurance agency first. Don't go straight to an attorney. Don't go straight to anybody else who can file a claim on your behalf, which you mentioned is an assignment of benefits. But let's go with roofers, because I feel like it was a pandemic that happened. It happens almost every hurricane season, like right after. It's a slow lull for our wonderful roofers, but there are some out there that are sharks. And what they do is they'll knock on doors, because this happened to my in-laws right here in Alafaya Woods in Oviedo. They go door to door, and you start seeing all of these signs in people's yards about all these new roofs happening. And then someone wants to tell so-and-so, oh, I got a new roof because, this roofer went ahead and got it through my insurance company because my insurance company wouldn't approve it. So what we know is that they go door to door, and they basically say, hey, I see some shingles off. This could have been, the roof. Do you want us to go and pursue it through your insurance company? Well, what they're really doing, they start that, but what they've done is they're asking you to assign it over to them. And we've seen the fraud that happens when the insurance companies may approve it, send the check to the roofer, and the roofer disappears. And so now the homeowner has no new roof, and they're out of money, and they filed a claim against their house. So many issues. And I think one of the things you were mentioning is call your insurance agency, whomever it is that you got insured through, to avoid that. Because Dana, tell us what happens when you have someone else who has assigned, you've assigned your benefits of the homeowner's insurance claim to them. What happens?
Well, that's a real big problem, and it still is a problem, but thank goodness we had a reform for the assignment of benefits, or an AOB reform. And that was, it started last July. Luckily, it used to be the minute you signed over your policy, you're signing a contract for them. Your insurance company nor your agency can talk to you anymore, because now you assign your entire policy to a stranger.
Right.
And that happens also with the roofers. And I'm telling you, it's a nightmare, because what happens at that point is your hands are tied. So they can, if for some reason they're delaying the claim and it keeps delaying, they're adding more billable hours, it's growing and growing. By the end of the day, we see it all the time, where the actual replacement of a roof should have been $15,000, but the payout that went to the roofer, not to you, the insured,
right,
that was $50,000.
Yeah.
They pay you $50,000 for your claim, for your roof, and they pocket the rest of the money.
Absolutely. Those are the scams that are really increasing our rates across the board. Like, the fact that we are categorized with South Florida is incredibly irritating. Because that was
incredibly.
One that differentiated us, is that we don't have those rates, because we know that Miami-Dade and Broward and West Palm have much higher rates. On top of the fact that they're close to the ocean and they have higher risk for hurricanes and water damage, etc. But the fact that across the board that this is happening now is incredibly frustrating. And like you said, it's due to fraudulent claims. So I did want to talk about, there's two things that I really wanted to mention. First, you said that you guys are rewriting over 2,000 policies because one of the insurance companies, because of fraud, is leaving. How are they choosing which insurance, which people to drop, like which homes or homeowners? How is that happening? Or is it just anybody that they have, they're dropping? Like, what does that look like?
In this particular case, they're gone forever. It's not profitable. And every policy is going to end on June 29th, whether it's active or not. It's not a non-renewal. They're just cutting it, which brings another huge problem on the roofs. I have on claims in general. I've been speaking to my clients, and on one occasion, for example, the lady, she has an open claim, and then we kept talking, and she let us know that at the end of the day, she was with an attorney. She had an attorney that she said, I can't reach my attorney. I've been trying for 7 months. So I said, well, That's unfortunate because unfortunately for you, no insurance company in Florida can write a policy for you. Your hands are tied. There's no way you cannot bind a new policy with an open claim on a home. We had that happen.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a very important point.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, listen, please make sure you try to reach your attorney and let him and beg him to please close that claim out so that you can have a closed claim, not an open claim, and that he can collect his money, because obviously once they're gone, I don't know what the recourse is for them to collect their fees. So that's a very important situation right there.
Absolutely.
And that is happening all the time, Janelle.
I mean, we've seen this too. When we go to list someone's house, we have to check if their permits, everything's closed, or if they have any open claims. People cannot sell a home that has an open claim. A buyer is not going to take on that risk. So they have to make sure they get it done. When you guys are hiring attorneys and all of these outside contractors and vendors, you've got to make sure if they're opening anything up on your property that they close it up, or you're going to have some serious issues. Dana, I do want to talk about roofs. When people are purchasing a home, and does this apply also to people who currently have a home with the roof that's 15 years or older? What is does it happen for new homeowners or even people with existing roofs as the age hits?
Everybody.
Okay, talk about
everybody. You notice that the older the roof gets, the higher the premium. The older the house is, the higher the premium is.
Yes.
Right now, we know that the building codes changed dramatically in 2002. So every home that is constructed 2002 and newer has the built-in credits for the new building codes, which are huge.
Right.
But of course, now we're in 2020, so a roof that's 2002 is 18 years old.
Oh,
but once that roof hits 15 years, forget about it. There's going to be a surcharge immediately on the renewal from anywhere from $300 to $1,000 more, depending on the size of the house, the tile roof, shingle roof, whatever it is. And it's across the board. They're doing it. In fact, we have companies that now everything has gotten so restricted, and it all happened just suddenly, like in the last 2 months. It's just coming down the pipe. For example, there's another carrier we have. They only want homes that are 5 years new or newer.
Wow.
They're keeping their existing.
Knock down all the houses and build new ones. It's crazy.
Because they're trying to reduce their exposure. Because it's been very difficult and a lot of claims. The other thing is, I've got many companies that if the roof is 10 years old or over 10 years, they don't want it. So it's really, really good. I was speaking with a client yesterday, and I was so excited. His house is built in 2005. And I got so excited when I asked him, I was about to cringe. I said, did you, by the way, is that an original roof? He said, nope, it's being put on as we speak. And I was so excited for him because that just saved him approximately $500 a year in insurance.
A year. Yeah.
A year.
That's a big deal. And it doesn't sound like a big deal to people listening, but when you start totaling everything else you're doing with a mortgage, with your taxes, you don't want insurance to have an additional $500 a year, because that adds up so quickly. And that's just 1 year, because all these other things that make the home older is also going to be, tagged on top of that. So what about metal roofs? You mentioned shingle, you mentioned tile roofs. What about a metal roof? Does the same 15-year apply?
No, metal roofs are great. They're actually good. It's a little bit longer, but as long as it looks in good condition, you can go with metal roofs a lot longer. So shingle roofs are the ones. And you know this, Janelle, we live in Florida. You buy a house and they say, oh, it's 30-year architectural shingle roof. Well, guess what?
Doesn't last.
They don't last 30 years.
Right.
Our weather, our heat, the rains, everything, our storms. So a percentage of it goes away. And just like you mentioned earlier with the contractors that come knocking on the door, we had a terrible time here with hail. Well, guess what? One of the things that we learned is you could be my next door neighbor. You could have hail and I may have nothing.
Right.
Because hail doesn't fall the same everywhere.
It's true.
So, and that's one of the problems that begins when the insurance company comes and they deny it, because there have to be a certain amount of hits on the shingles.
Yeah.
And it's not enough. So it might be that it deteriorates the roof a little bit.
Yeah.
However, the roof still has much life in it. So the insurance company denies it. The contractor says, don't worry, I'm going to call my buddy. He's an attorney and we're going to go bat for you for this. The client maybe is lasting 6 months. Before you know it, the client wants to sell the house. Client can't sell the house because it still has an open claim and it's not settled. So unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of that. And believe you me, the insurance companies know when you pull up a claims history. It used to be we didn't have access to that. So now it's just like car insurance. We have access to it. And you can see if a $50,000 payout was on a roof, that should have been $15,000. You know what's going on.
Right.
And that stays with you for 5 years.
Sounds like your credit score. You have to make sure
you're not the credit score, just the claim score. Yes.
Of course, but I'm saying it's like your credit score. You do something bad on your credit score, that sucker's going to stay on there on that report.
Yes, ma'am.
So
that's right.
I think people just want to make sure that you're being honest. You're only taking out claims when you absolutely need them, and that they're not fraudulent, because people do try to scam the system. And no matter what system, everybody's trying to, make a buck. But I think to kind of wrap up everything we've talked about, I think the most important things here is to avoid scams. Always, always, always contact your insurance agency. Contact your insurance agent. There's a reason you chose them. As Waypointe Realty, we actually always recommend Universal Insurance Agency. We have the policy through them. Like, we love them. They answer their phones, they get on it, and they shop around and try to get you the best deal with good coverage. Because we're not about trying to be the cheapest. We want to make sure that we have, that we're making sure that we get the best coverage at the best rate for our clients. I think that that's really important.
Very important
is making sure that if you do have a roofer come to your door, before you even negotiate or talk anything about that, call your insurance agency. Ask them, let them know about what's going on with the roof, if you would even qualify, because you want to make sure you're not being scammed on that front also. And then the third one was the attorneys, making sure that don't call an attorney unless you absolutely need one, because you feel that the insurance company that you've done is hurting you, is not really paying out what is due. There's a reason for attorneys, but then there's then there's other reasons that you just go and bypass, and it actually ends up hurting you in the long run because you don't really need one. So absolutely
on that. And I just want to mention, if it's okay with you on this, with the attorneys, is that they're great. We need attorneys. We all need them. But decide when it's time. It's got to be that it was just you were right. You had several contractors come and give you estimates, and they could see it, and the adjuster just didn't agree with them. A lot of times you can have your contractor meet the adjuster when they're coming out. Right. And then that really try to solve it amicably. You're always going to do better that way. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Call your agent. Let's see what we can do before you go to the extreme case of getting an attorney. Let's be prudent with it. The other one thing I want to mention in plumbing, if I may.
Yes.
Plumbing has become very important. A lot of people don't have permits for plumbing. Forget about it. Those days are over. If you do any plumbing work, get a permit. Okay. We just had a case yesterday that they had to stop the closing. They got a windstorm mitigation report and a 4-point report. Then they go to closing. They're going to go to closing against what the windstorm mitigation report. There was an open permit, so they called the county. The county went out to the property and said, "This roof isn't built to code. You need a brand new roof."
The day of closing, this happened?
No, a few days right before the closing.
Right before
it was just like when it was just a few days when they did the title search and everything. Yes. And some title searchers don't show that. Some is warranty, one's a different one. There's 2 types of warranties that they do check the cloud, because it's a cloud on the title, right?
Sure.
So all of a sudden, this deal just fell apart, and it's horrible. The client was in love with the house. The realtor worked so hard. Everybody, it just fell apart. So make sure you got closed permits. Make sure that when you get these reports that everything's been done. Flooding, we've had so much problems with the plumbing. Please make sure you start getting that done. And with electric, you always get a permit. But those are the most important things.
Roofing, electric, plumbing, most important things to make sure you have permits and that they are closed before you sell your home. Ideally, as soon as you're done with the project, as soon as it's done. But thank you so much, Diana. This was a lot of really great information. We want to make sure that our homeowners are safe, protected, and stay insured. Because insurance, I always think, what a waste of money until you need it. And then,
exactly.
and then you have it, So
Yeah, and right now, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you, it's hurricane season. It just started.
This is the time
on
to get started and have it. And
check your policy.
And I would encourage people, even if you're not in a flood zone, get flood insurance and do it before, because we remember Houston a few years ago, they are not in a flood zone. And there are people that absolutely lost their houses and their vehicles and everything. So that's just kind of check out the pricing, see if it's worth your time and effort to get flood insurance. We're not in a flood zone, but you better believe, like really during Houston, after all of that happened, we called up and we bought flood insurance, even though it wasn't enacted for 30 days. We're like, we don't care. If there's another hurricane this way, we wanted to make sure we were safe. So while I hate paying insurance, I don't want to have to ever use it. It's one of those things you don't want to have to ever use it, but if you do, boom, it's there. So thank you, Diana. I really appreciate this. And we hope you guys have learned anything. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We have Diana's information. You can always look up Universal Insurance Agency here in Orlando. They're fantastic, great customer service. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.